SoundCartel.
From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. Most of us dream of turning our small business into an Australian and international success. Well, one little local distillery did just that. Four Pillars Gin has gone from a crowdfunded startup in 2013 to a major international player now sold in more than 30 countries. Co-founder Matt Jones says the success is due to a commitment to craft, innovation and intimate customer connections. Matt tells Jeff Waters how he first became involved and the business-orientated contribution he made.
I think the secret to building a remarkable gin business is making remarkable gin to start with. And I got very, very lucky. I met two partners who are hugely talented with incredible vision in gin. And I sort of try to hold on tight and keep up with them and help them build a business and a brand on the side of that.
So your role in all of this has largely been as a business manager, marketer, that sort of thing?
Yeah, my background was in the world of marketing and brand strategy and brand experience. I was really interested in what it would take to build a brand in the age of social media. I really grew up in agencies as the iPhone was changing our landscape, as social media was changing our landscape. And I had this wonderful opportunity to put some of those theories into practice in a business of my own.
It sounds like your partners were also lucky to meet you. What did you do specifically to make Four Pillars the brand that it is now?
This is something I've reflected on a great deal in the book I've just published, Lessons from Gin. I've really tried to think about what is it that I brought to this enterprise of growing a gin business and what could you take for growing anything else? And I think the first lesson is we thought about it. We got to a great stage of clarity on what was it going to take to build this business? The world in 2013 did not need another gin. I don't think anyone was losing sleep thinking, where's the Australian gin? Where's the abundance? If you walked into a bottle shop and you looked at that wall of gin, there was plenty of gin in 2013. There's even more gin today. So the first thing we did is we thought really clearly about what kind of business we're going to build and what it's going to take to do it. And ultimately, I think we came to two words that were really important. The first was craft. We said we're only going to make a gin and build a business worth building if it's based on incredible craft, incredible focus, great expertise. And that for us was this pure focus on gin. We don't make whiskey, we don't make vodka, we don't make rum. We do one thing really well. And then from my point of view, it was this focus on intimacy, this idea that if your craft differentiates you, then you just have to bring people close and use events, experiences, social media, content, storytelling to bring people as close as you can, to take them with you. And I think that relationship between craft and intimacy is ultimately what defined the Four Pillars business.
Just so that, the audience knows exactly how successful you have been, can you describe the business for us at the moment?
So Four Pillars began in 2013 as the first, I believe, gin business anywhere in the world to launch through crowdfunding. So the very first sales we made were on a platform called Possible. We sold 420 bottles of gin to 307 people. At that time, Hendrick's had 60% of the super premium gin market in Australia. So 6 out of 10 bottles were one brand with one product. By 2021, Four Pillars was selling more gin in Australia than Hendrick's. And last year we made close to 1.5 million bottles of gin.
And you've got a range of different types of gin.
One of the things I've reflected on a lot is how important it is to understand and invest in your craft. And having made that early decision that we were only going to be gin makers, it sort of then became this creative springboard where we said, well, if we're only going to make gin for the rest of our lives, we better get inventive and we better explore it and we better be experimental. And so we ended up making gin with Shiraz grapes. We made gin with Christmas puddings. We made gin with bartenders and gin with other distillers. So yes, I think we became not just the most awarded gin producer in the world, named the world's best 3 times, but certainly the most inventive and creative.
Well, I can certainly personally recommend your bloody Shiraz gin. It's sensational. So as you grew from zero to such a huge and important Australian product, what were the main challenges you faced? Did you have any trouble along the way? And if so, how did you overcome it?
I think growth is probably a statement of the obvious, Jeff, for an audience like yours. But growth is an ongoing challenge. I sometimes liken...
Don't do it too quickly.
Well, and I sometimes liken growing a business to being like a parent. Just when you think you've got it all nailed and got it all figured out, things change. Your kids change. Or in this case, your business changes, your landscape changes, your category changes, your competitors change. And so I think we were very clear in the early stages on our theory of growth. It's something I talk about a lot in my book. It's very important to have a theory for how your business is going to grow. What are you going to do? How are you going to invest in your craft? How are you going to share your craft with the world? What's your marketing strategy going to be? Where are you going to spend those limited dollars you have? You need a theory, but equally, you've got to keep up with whether that theory, the theory that served you well to date, is going to take you where you want to go next. And I think we were very fortunate at Four Pillars. We hit lots of speed bumps. We hit a few potholes, but we never crashed into a wall. There was never this sort of moment of crisis. I mean, there was a moment called COVID that none of us want to talk about again. That was certainly a challenging time for a business involved in hospitality and face-to-face experiences. But we were fortunate that we didn't hit too many major potholes and speed bumps. But where we did, I think it was because we needed to update our theory of growth. We needed to understand that what had got us that far, let's say in Australia, wasn't going to get us where we wanted to go in export. We are now ranged in over 30 markets worldwide. We're in airports around the world. We're in bottle shops around Australia, but we still really value our ability to sell small batches direct to our customers and keep those passionate gin fires burning. So often it's the balancing act. It's the need to keep all those plates spinning, all those balls in the air that have proven the hardest, but also I'd argue the most rewarding as well.
That's a great idea. So you've maintained that connection with your most loyal and valued customers by catering to them individually and giving them something exclusive.
We have. I talked at the start of this chat about how intimacy was at the heart of connecting our craft with people, and we've not let that go even as we have achieved scale. One of the things we named early on was we think there is this sort of magic trick you can create where you can scale intimacy. You can both find those people who really care about your product, about your category, those people who will be really loyal, they'll recommend you, and you can treat them really well and trust that they will be the kind of people who go out there into the world, they gift your product, they recommend your product, and that helps you meet new people. And perhaps those new people don't want that same level of relationships. In our case, they're the people who are just going to go to their local Dan Murphy's, their local vintage cellars, their local bottle shop, and we love both of those customers equally, but we always remember we do need to treat them and engage with them a bit differently.
Fantastic. Okay, so given the fact that you're now in airports around the world and have gotten quite a name for yourself and for the Australian spirit production sector, which is fantastic, what's next? Where is Four Pillars heading to?
I think Four Pillars is halfway there.
Oh, that's ambitious.
Look, I think what we have created is we've created an extraordinary gin-making business. If anyone listening has ever visited us in Healesville, the home of our distillery, or come to our little drinks laboratory in Surrey Hills, or any number of events and dinners and tastings, they'll know that there's a real magic to the way that Four Pillars makes gin and the gin that emerges. What we haven't yet done is build the brand that we want to around the world. Brand is emotion. Brand is recognition. Brand is feeling. And the challenge for anyone in business is to make sure the craft is there, the excellence is there in their business, but also that craft gets the credit it deserves. That's the job of your brand. And that's the job we still have to complete with Four Pillars, making sure that everyone who deserves to be saved from a mediocre gin and tonic and moved into a world-class Australian gin and tonic, we've got to make sure we reach those people and do that job. So I think the business is phenomenal. I take very little credit for how wonderful the gin is, but I think the brand now can continue to grow and continue to introduce people to the flavour of Australia in the form of Four Pillars. So yeah, job half done, lots of fun left to have.
That's Matt Jones, co-founder of Four Pillars Gin. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at SoundCartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow @BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. SoundCartel.